All right, let's go into the Pistons. Next up, we'll be talking about the Pistons and which prospects best fit them. Pretty much the same thing we just did with the Hawks. Right now, I got to reset my mock draft on Tankathon, and right now the Pistons are slotted to be in the 5th spot. So they have a shot at least to jump up to the number 1 spot or top 3. Out of Wiseman, Ball, and Edwards, which player best fits the Detroit Pistons first?
Point guard. Like, to me, this is the easiest, and I'm going to spoil my answer for every single tier that we do. It's point guard. Like, out of the top 3, I'm taking LaMelo Ball. If I'm not at number 1 and someone's going to take him, I'm trying to do what the Hawks did with Trae Young and trade up, give up this pick, give up my next year's pick in order to get LaMelo Ball, because this is a team where your number 1 priority with your lone pick in the entire draft should be getting a point guard, no matter where you're at.
Mavericks and trade up, but yeah.
Yeah, but the Hawks got the point guard. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, I'm trading an extra pick to get LaMelo Ball if I'm not at number 1 for the Detroit Pistons.
They don't have a 5 either. I agree with you that they should definitely go for a point guard, but if Ball goes 1 and they're sitting at 2, I'm not going to feel horrible that I end up with James Wiseman on my team. That's not the end of the world. I'll just drag Derrick Rose out there for 1 more year, see what we can do.
Well, let me frame it this way, Dave, before you go in. Let's see which players are going to be on this team next year. Brandon Knight's not going to be on this team. He's a UFA. Maybe they bring him back, but he's not that important. D Rose will be on this team. He's making $7.6 million. He'll at least start the season with them. I doubt Tony Snell's turning down $12 million to play basketball, so Tony Snell will be here. Langston Galloway's a free agent. Luke Kennard will be around for 5.2. Jordan McRae is a RFA, but he's not that important.
He's a bucket getter.
Bruce Brown, 1.6 mil. Svi Mikhailuk, he's got a club option. Interesting to see there. Kyrie Thompson's made 6. Got a lot of shooting guard. 1 point guard right now. They got my guy, Sekou Demboya, who's going to be on for $3.4 million. Blake, who's going to be on for 36, and then John Henson, Christian Wood, who they should re-sign, and Thon Maker will be there. So they have no pretty much 5s unless you have Thon Maker
Christian
out there.
Wood. They play
Christian Wood, right? He was playing the 5. So you have one center in Christian Wood. You have 1 power forward in Blake Griffin. You have a small forward in Sekou Demboya. You have 4 shooting guards in Tony Snell, Luke Kennard, Bruce Brown, and Kyrie Thomas, and you have 1 point guard in Derrick Rose. So a lot of needs positionally on this team. You can go small forward, you can go power forward, you can go center. I mean, Blake Griffin barely plays basketball anymore.
Exactly.
I don't think that there's a need that much for a point guard. I'm not going to blame them for taking a point guard because they haven't had a point guard in years. But at least in my mind, Dave, I think they can go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't disagree that they can go anywhere. I just feel like you have to look at point guard because as much as I love Derrick Rose, you can't trust Derrick Rose to be healthy for a whole year. I don't care how good he's been. I don't care how amazingly healthy he's been. It's just a matter of time with him. You're playing with, a little bit of house money here. You're like, okay, anything we get from this point on, bonus. I think they have to go address the point guard position at the top of this draft. If Ball is gone, then you go, okay, if we're at 2, take Wiseman, feel good because, like you said, Blake Griffin's been hurt. They do have to re-sign Christian Wood. He's been great, but I think you can play that trio together for a lot of minutes and not have to worry too much. If they do fall out of the top 3, or even if they're at 3 and Edwards is on the board, I'm probably looking to trade back.
Yep.
I would probably be in that situation where at that point I feel comfortable trading back. Let somebody go get the most polished scorer in college, as far as the wing, and let them do that and see how far back I can coast. Because like you said, a lot of needs. Need a couple more picks in this draft class. Couldn't hurt, and it's not a super top heavy class. That we were joking around a long time ago about this being like, between pick 10 and pick 30, like there's probably no difference. Like talent wise, it feels like you just put them in a bingo shaker, stir it up and see what comes out. So I think that in a way, I can add extras, go for it.
In a way, I'm kind of coming off of that idea of you can really pick anyone 10 through 30. But I think at some point there is that point where really these guys just become names. But I think that we can probably all agree the fact that if if LaMelo Ball is on the board at all, they're going to take him, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Have to.
So I'm kind of looking in my, thinking in my head. James Wiseman, I think, is the other one where I'm starting to think a little bit more of oh, maybe you take him if you're 2 and you're not all hardcore with LaMelo Ball, because 2 options that this team could do, like I mentioned, right now they've got the 5th pick depending on how the lottery goes, and that's the only pick that they have. Right. The thing that you could do later on is they do have picks in the future. So you could do, and I'm using last year as a reference, you could do what the Clippers and Nets had a deal where the Clippers got, the Clippers got the 27th overall pick. They gave up a 2nd rounder and a 1st. You don't have a 2nd rounder this year. You'd have to give up 2 firsts for that. Probably not going to go there. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to try to trade back into the 2nd round like the Hawks did when they got my boy Bruno Fernandez. His name's really Bruno Fernando. But they got a 2nd rounder and they traded basically 3 future seconds for that. So, I mean, if you're the Pistons, you could get that backup center. You could get, or really their center, like if you like a Daniel Cthulhu down there, a Turu is his real name, or like a Xavier Tillman. Or if we went Wiseman, we really need a point guard. Oh, a Winston's there, a Howard's there, a Lewis Jr.'s there. So they could pretty much trade into the 2nd round if they need one. I mean, I'm just throwing names out. Point guards that we talked about in drafts, or
I wouldn't take a 5'10" scoring guard at my point guard.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree that I think that their main target should be guard in this first round. Especially with their first pick, because we've seen time and time again. I mean, you look at the Bulls last year; they get Daniel Gafford in the 2nd round, right? And he's been fantastic. I think that you can even talk about the fact that we look at our guy from the last mock draft, Alexei Pokusevski, the 7-foot freak who's like super athletic and might just be this guy that you can mold into this player. I mean, he could be a guy like Jokic who goes in the 2nd round and becomes a star in the NBA. So I think that the need of a 5 can be addressed a little bit later on, but at least for this team's been running Reggie Jackson forever, and now he's on the Clippers. But I mean, for how long were we talking about? All right, this team, if they get a point guard, if they can get somebody who can pass to the guys who actually score, and not ball hog and eat up this entire offensive possession every time, then maybe they'd be a decent team. I think now is the time they have to attack. Luckily for them, especially in the top 10, they have a lot of options, right?
They do.
So let's talk about the other ones outside of LaMelo Ball. Is there one that screams like that's the guy outside of LaMelo Ball to you? Like I just simmed the lottery. Pistons just got number 1, and they take LaMelo Ball. But if they fall to 7, right? Killian Hayes is off the board. LaMelo Ball is off the board. You got Cole Anthony and Tyrese Halliburton and Nico Mannion and Tyrese Maxey if you want to think he could play a 1. Where do they go? Like if they go, if they end up at 5, right? Killian Hayes, Tyrese Halliburton, Cole Anthony, Nico Mannion, Tyrese Maxey. Which player are they taking? Which is the best fit for them? Dave, I'll go to you first.
Hayes would be the number 1 off the board if he was still on the board. After that, like power ranking them for Pistons fit. I mean, it's such a tough job because you want to take in, okay, I've got Luke Kennard and Sekou Mboya, potentially Christian Wood on a long-term deal. And then you go, do I need someone who could play alongside Blake Griffin? Is Blake Griffin part of this plan at all? Should I even be concerned with Blake Griffin as far as I'm drafting the future of this team? And that's
I'd say he's a part of the future.
I mean, he's under contract for next year and then the following year. And
then he's got the player option.
It's 3 years out?
Oh, 2 years. This year, next year, and then the player out.
This year doesn't even count. We're talking about the draft. The year's over.
So he's 2020 he will be on this team. So next year he'll be on this team, and then in 2021 he's got a player option. Yeah, which I don't know if he's going to pick up. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Would you want $38 million to almost play basketball?
But he's made so much money, and at that point he's going to be what 30? He's 32. So he could be thinking maybe that's my last chance to have a longer contract. So instead of taking 38 right away, I'll take 16 for 4 years.
No way. No, the only way he takes 16 is if he breaks his leg on national TV next year.
No. I'm saying like 16, 16, 16, 16.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way. Like,
so it totals up to like 48. I don't know.
The only like best case scenario for Blake Griffin is if he plays healthy in 2020 and he, looks not that top 5 MVP category he was at the previous year, but like, say he puts up some pretty good numbers. I could see him getting like a 30 mil a year for the next 4 years, or he'd be 32, you said, for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think 3 year, 30 mil each, or roughly around there. I don't think he can get anywhere close. Like 16 would be if he gets hurt again. That's a team taking a gamble on him.
He did get hurt again. Like, he had this phenomenal season. He looked stupid good in 2018, and then he gets injured, and it all happens again. And that's the thing that I think that, if he is injured again, or he doesn't even play in 2020, which is a possibility, we really don't know that much about the injury that he's currently going through. He could absolutely
Jabari Parker can get 20 mil a year on a take it or leave it kind of a deal. Then Blake Griffin can get about 25.
That was a 1 year deal, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so we're just talking about how long would be on the team.
I'm just saying. Regardless, back to the main point of this. Like, if you're planning on this team being built around an aging Blake Griffin, which I don't think they should, I think you have to go for who can create offense for himself and for others. You can't depend on a Blake Griffin being on your team forever. You've got an interesting weapon in Luke Kennard at the 2. Like, clearly he's a knockdown shooter from the outside. He definitely has an it factor in the fourth quarter. Love Sekou Demboya and what he could be, but he is so raw still, and he is still learning. It's like you can't count on any offense from other pieces other than like maybe Luke Kennard. And if you do resign Jordan McRae, he's a great bucket getter for you. So I'm looking for someone who can score on their own and who can create for others. And that, I eliminate Nico Mannion at that point. I don't think he would translate well. I'm looking at Tyrese Maxey and Cole Anthony. I don't even think Halliburton would be a great fit. I think Halliburton's more like the quiet off-ball, like third best player on a good team kind of a player. I think that would fit his role well. I think he's stylistically not, going to be able to support being the number 1 scorer and facilitator on a top team. So I'm looking for someone with that it factor to their game. Cole Anthony, Maxey, both appear to have that. I would be interested to see one of those two guys and see if we can give them the run under Derrick Rose for one season and see what that would look like.
Yeah, Halliburton's already a guy that you want to add him to a team that already has scorers, and right now they don't.
As a 20-year-old. Yeah. I mean, go for it. He's got great size, great frame, but he's not out there going to score 25 a night for you. So go get somebody who can.
Yeah, I agree with you. The fact that they need a guy that can go out and get their own, but also can be a guy that can facilitate. I'm not going to disagree with you on Killian Hayes there, but I know Ricky might because he loves Nico Mannion. I'm not sure where Ricky's going to go. So Ricky, if they don't have a pick of LaMelo Ball, which point guard fits them?
So at first, I want to say I don't think they can go wrong. Like, any of these guys would be great, but there's a part of me that wants to lean towards Cole Anthony and Nico Mannion. And the reason why is they need a guy that has the it factor. And I know Cole Anthony didn't have a great season this year, but you have to get somebody that after next year can be your guy at the 1. Because Derrick Rose, I don't think is coming back. Derrick Rose is either going to he's either going to come back home to Chicago or he's going to ring Chase. Those are the only 2 options. And honestly, Derrick Rose, I feel like he would pick home over a ring. But maybe that's just me being hopeful. I think Cole Anthony and Nico Mannion, though, those are like Tyrese Halliburton. I agree with you, Dave. Kind of seems like the quiet type. Killian Hayes, going to be a really good NBA pro, but I don't think he's the guy where it's like, all right, we need 25 from you. Let's go and get it. He's the guy that's going to facilitate. He's going to get teammates involved, be a great player in that sense, where I think Cole Anthony could be the guy where it's like, all right, we need you to go off. Got it. Nico Mannion's got that same drive in him. Where I feel he does. I think Arizona, like Nico Mannion, Dave, you were going to feel the same way to Nico like you did about Lowry, where when Lowry was at Arizona, you couldn't stand him, but it wasn't you couldn't stand Markkanen. You couldn't stand how they were using him. Yeah. And that's what I think it is. I think going to Arizona was a mistake for him. I feel like it didn't work for him. And he's a little bit of a different player than what we saw at Arizona. Because watching his high school clips, I immediately fell in love with him and what he could be. And he or Cole Anthony, I think, could flourish under a Derrick Rose. But it depends on, is Derrick Rose going to be that mentor? Is it just going to be like, what's the relationship going to be with Derrick Rose and a young rookie?
I'm sorry, I'm not buying the whole he shouldn't have gone to Arizona thing, because Sean
hey.
Miller literally he exposed Lauri Markkanen. Markkanen shouldn't have gone 7 there. I mean, we can look back at that draft, and Markkanen has underperformed, right? I mean, has Markkanen lived up to your dreams and expectations, Ricky?
I mean, I don't know what my dreams and expectations
no.
were for him, because he wasn't used correctly at Arizona in the first place. So I didn't even know what I was getting. He was
used correctly for the first half of the season, and then they tried to see if he was an actual basketball player, and he's not. He's a shooter. That's all he is. He's 7 feet tall, and he could shoot from the outside, and he's afraid to play physical basketball. That's what he's been in the NBA. I mean,
it was a sad downside comp, but it was Ryan Anderson.
He's more athletic Ryan Anderson.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that, and that's exactly what Arizona did to expose him. So, that's just Sean Miller being a good coach. What do I have in this guy for a long tournament playoff run? I think that Nico Mannion has showed a lot of cracks. He's got Zeke Naji next to him. He's got Josh Green next to him. He's got guys who have talent around him, and he hasn't been able to get them implemented into their actual offense, into their game. He hasn't been able to draw them in. I think I'm a little less worried about Cole Anthony, because he literally has 0 teammates next to him in North Carolina. But with at least Nico Mannion, I'm getting Reggie Jackson again. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting a guy that's going to
I don't think it's that far.
He's not going to get his teammates involved. He's not going to be a guy that looks to involve everybody right away. He's going to try to get his exactly like Reggie Jackson was. Reggie Jackson was drafted by OKC and then got demanded his trade out because he didn't want to be a 6-man. He didn't want to play behind Russ anymore. He wanted to lead his own team. And look what Reggie Jackson did on the Pistons. He did nothing for them because he didn't involve Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond into the offense. He just ate up the clock and ate up the ball time in and time out again. And that's exactly what Nico Mannion's going to do.
How many assists per game would you be looking for?
It doesn't matter about assists per game. It matters when you're coming down. Like, I don't really care that much. Assists don't tell you how good of a passer you are, or how good of a facilitator you are, or how good of a leader you are, right? You could just watch the film and see that. And I don't think that he's a good enough leader for this Pistons team, that if we're talking about they need a point guard, you're not getting a point guard. You're getting a guy who could dribble. Like, that's what you're getting with Nico Mannion.
I mean, I've got concerns around that. That's Nico, like you said, he had good supporting cast, and his numbers continued to dwindle as the season went on. And it's just one of those things where physically, I'm not sure how he's going to succeed. He doesn't have the quickest first step. He doesn't have, does he have the ability to blow by people at the NBA level against NBA caliber athletes? To me, he just screams backup point guard. I may be wrong. I'll toss out there. I absolutely may be wrong on this one, but to me, he just seems like a backup point guard with a little bit of upside towards him being able to play that 2-man big pick and roll game. But I think there's something that Cole Anthony has when he just puts his head down and gets buckets for you. Like, he absolutely can take over games. He's got that ability to do that, and I'm surprised. I guess we both agree on that. We both like Cole Anthony as a potential fit here.
Yeah, I would pick Cole Anthony over Nico.
Now, when would you consider Tyrese Maxey versus Nico for this team? Like, I know we've talked about Maxey being more of a combo guard versus a true point, but do you think that he could work in this Piston system, or they could work with him? Or do you think that a traditional point guard a la Nico Mannion would be a better pick for that?
I'm going traditional point guard. And the thing with Tyrese Maxey is the only thing that makes this a conversation is that Nico and Tyrese have both fallen down our draft boards. Because early on, I had both of them as top 10 picks. And this last time, Tyrese was outside. Nico Mannion did I still have him outside? Yeah, both of them now are outside the top 10, to where if I'm the Pistons, I go with the more, who's my point guard? I don't want a shooting guard who can kind of play the point. That's why I would even kind of distance myself from an RJ Hampton if he's available for the Pistons, because the thing I need to get set is if Blake's not going to be here to be the guy, my point guards right now are one of them are gone, and then the second one is gone probably at the end of next year. I need to know who my guy is by the end of next season, whether that's free agency, whether that's this draft or next draft. Because if they go with a big, they could go with a NECA, they could go with Obi Toppin if they wanted to, and don't have to go point guard. They need to know who their guy is at the one, though, by the end of next season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if I'm ranking these point guards, I think that the Maxey versus Mannion thing's a fair one because they are fairly similar. I would just take Maxey over Mannion because I think he's a better basketball player. But play wise, I don't think you can make an argument that Maxey's a better facilitator or better leader. I don't think you're getting a better point guard at least. If you're taking Maxey over Mannion, I think you just might be getting a better player. If I had to rank the point guards, because we've been talking a lot about point guards here, we'll get off of it here, but I want you guys to do the same exercise I'm doing. I'll do LaMelo Ball, then Hayes, then I'll go Halliburton.
Are we ranking for the Pistons or ranking?
Yeah, for the Pistons.
Yeah, for the Pistons.
Okay.
Ball, Hayes, Halliburton. Ball, Hayes. I was actually just doing this in general. So Ball, Hayes, I think Anthony. Then I'll take Maxey, then I'll take Halliburton, and then I'll take Mannion. I think those would be my guys in that order. I think that Halliburton's he's a better point guard, but at least for them, I think I agree with Dave that you need a guy that can go and get his, and I don't know if he can do that, especially with his shot. His shot's ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need to put him around scorers, and I don't think they have enough scorers yet for Halliburton to work there. And Cole Anthony's younger. Like, I'd rather take the shot on the guy that didn't have any teammates, but still put up like 20. Like, yes, he can't drive and attack the bucket, but I still think he's got that ability.
They're like 2 months apart, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah, Cole Anthony is an old freshman.
Go Bears.
He was one of the guys who a lot of basketball players do this, where they hold
19
back here early on, so that way they're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody in their class.
Yeah, 19.9, and Halliburton's 20.1.
Yep. So not a big age difference, but definitely a mentality difference and a play style difference.
Yeah, I'll still take the play style difference though there. Dave, you want to give your rankings, and we'll go to Ricky, and then we'll end this.
Yeah. So for the Pistons, it'd be LaMelo Ball, Killian Hayes, Anthony Maxey, Halliburton, Theo Maledon, and then Nico Mannion.
Forgot about Maledon.
Yeah, he's fallen too.
Everybody's forgot about Theo Maledon.
He's completely fallen too.
Completely quiet while playing, in Europe. So, here's the thing: is he going to be a breakout star? Probably fucking not. Let's be honest, probably not. But you know what's fun? The unknown, and I'd take the unknown. Know the physical limitations of Nico Mannion are. So.
I mean, he's a Euro player, so we got to go at Ricky's weak Euro comparison of the week. He's going to be the next Frank, right?
He's 6'4".
Yep.
He's a better facilitator than Frank ever was.
Mm-hmm. Next Mario Hezonja, I'm sorry.
He's a worse defender, but he's a decent scorer at least.
He's an iffy shooter.
He's better than Frank on that, though.
There's some potential for Frank.
I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying, Frankie Smokes is great. Don't get me wrong, but I would take Theo Maledon above Nico Mannion in this draft class.
Richard, rankings.
Yeah, with me, I'm completely different. LaMelo's at the top, then it's Cole Anthony at 2 for the Pistons, then Nico, then Hayes, then Halliburton. I feel like they need that guy who's going to be the it factor guy, and I think if you're not getting LaMelo Ball, Cole Anthony and Nico Mannion have that and can be great for the Pistons.
All right, that's going to do it for the Pistons talk. Is there any other player that you think would fit besides point guards? I mean, do we really have to have the conversation? Because I don't think if they pick anything besides a point guard, I think they're probably stupid.
No, the only one is if there are 2 and they want Wiseman. That's it. Like, if I'm at 2 and Ball goes, I'm not going to be mad if they take James Wiseman.
True.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think actually. Yeah. I agree with that. And then if they are at 3, then they're probably better off trading back.
I would trade up
on the board.
I would trade up for one of them if I was at 3.
All right. So you're trading up to get Ball, Dave,
or Wiseman, one of the 2.
I'm trading back.
Okay. And I think I'd trade back too. Anyways, that's going to do it for the Pistons topics. Let us know what type of prospects they should go after. Are you just gung-ho about point guards as us, or do you see potential in the 31-year-old Derrick Rose being your starting point guard for the future? Pistons fans,
Hey, Derrick
let us
is
know
good.
down in
Derrick
the
is
comments
good.
below. Derrick is fine. Derrick is Derrick, right?